Yeah.
Okay, so have you had any major achievements since you started?
Yes, I have. I'm really proud to say that the traffic to my site has doubled since I did the course.
That is awesome.
That is a really big achievement. And I'll also say that my followers and interaction on my Instagram posts are going up so much more rapidly than they ever did before. And my other big achievement is that since putting my prices up and killing off my free shipping offer on the introductory purchase,
yep,
which you told me to do.
That was like first conversation.
Put your big girl pants on, get rid of your free shipping, and put your prices up. And I thought, oh my god, both of those, I don't know if I can do that, but I did. And lo and behold, my average order has been slowly increasing, and my monthly sales have been increasing.
And your profit will have increased because you are subsidising the shipping.
Yes. So the free shipping was actually a really bad idea for me because lots of my products are quite heavy and bulky. So it's not like it was just a pair of earrings that I could pop into an envelope and send as regular mail. You know, it was heavy stuff that was costing me a lot to ship. So sometimes my heart would sink when my orders would come in because I'd think, oh my god, I'm not even making anything on this product. Why am I even doing this?
And the thing is, people are buying your stuff as gifts, so they're kind of prepared to pay for the shipping.
Yeah. And so a really nice aha moment I had as well was when you said, I kind of draw a likeness between your site and a florist. You go to a florist and you pay, it's beautiful stuff, and you pay decent money because it makes someone feel happy. And that's exactly what your stuff does, except that it lasts a lot longer than flowers. So that was a real mindset change for me, rather than this, apologising. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's, yes, it's more than you'd spend in Kmart, because that's it. A few kind of friends have said, oh, I wouldn't pay that much, and I'm thinking,
not my customer.
No, you wouldn't. That's okay.
Yeah.
So it's given me confidence to charge for what I offer. And there's absolutely no point being in business if I'm not going to make any money.
No, and you offer the service of the curation. It's like the florist. Yeah. You don't go to the florist and say, I want roses, if they don't have roses. You take their advice and say, well, this is what is in season right now, and these are beautiful. We can make this into the thing that you want. And you do the same thing. If you want a beautiful gift, I've got the best of the best here.
Yes.
And clearly that's working for you because people are approaching you.
Yes. And so I don't mind. If that means I'm not going to have people buying one product here or there, that's actually good. I'd rather be focusing on people who are interested in ordering a few products at once, and therefore they're economising on the postage.
Yeah.
And sending out a really lovely bundle to someone.
Yeah. That is awesome.
So the number of products I'm selling, the average number of products per order has increased, as well as the order size.
And that's because of the free shipping. Because people look, I'll admit I'm one of these people. I shop on the Iconic because it's free shipping and free returns. But I often feel guilty about sending stuff back, even though I've kind of bought it because maybe it might fit, maybe it won't. But that's their business model. And if they choose to have that business model, people will always exploit it. And as a result, with your free shipping, people would buy one plate instead of going, well, maybe I should get 3 to make up for the shipping and I'll just put the other 2 in the cupboard.
Yeah.
So you were taking all the risk and not the reward.
Yes. Yeah. So it's the best thing I've ever done in the business, really, from a business perspective.
Taking away the free shipping?
Taking away the free shipping and putting up my prices.
And the price rise didn't make a difference, did it? It didn't take away any sales?
No, because I've set my prices on I guess I've just looked at what other stores were selling various products for. But some of these stores might not be online. So, there's the extra costs of the packaging and your time to post it and all these extra costs that go into curating this stuff, right? Yeah. There's no point comparing myself to some of the large book sellers because the margin on books is notoriously small compared to other products. So I do have a bit more of a margin on my books because my time it takes a long time to find these products and get them in and upload them all to the website. It's really time intensive. So I don't, now that you've kind of forced me to view myself in the business in a different light in terms of a service that I'm producing. You know, I'm offering beautiful products to people that are going to make people feel great and that are going to make people feel connected either with Australia or, you know, evoke a really lovely sense of connection with a special person that they send that gift to. You know, that's a service, right?
That is such a service. And I think you were saying earlier about how, you know, I want people to feel that connection if they give the gift. And I was going to jump in, but I didn't want to interrupt you. I did that enough times. But what you said when you said that was, I was thinking, when you give a gift, to me, the gift is more about you than it is about the person, in the sense that a really lovely gift is one you have thought about. You've thought about the recipient and their needs, but then you've taken that back with your own values and your own, you know, your own beliefs and your own wants and needs, and you've kind of pulled all that together and said, well, this is what I think would serve you best. And I've taken the time to find that thing.
Yeah, exactly. It hasn't arrived.
Yeah, I didn't just go to Kmart and pick up the cheapest thing on the shelf. It's, you know, I searched for this thing, and when I saw it, I immediately thought of you.
Yeah.
That's priceless.
Welcome to the Bringing Business to Retail podcast on SelenaKnight.com. Stay ahead of the competition by opening your doors to business experts so you can learn, grow, and be inspired. Passionate about bringing business strategies to independent retailers, please welcome your host, Selena Knight.
Hey there, and welcome to this week's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. So, you are in the right place, but what did you think of our new intro? Let me tell you why we mixed it up a little bit today. When I was recording this interview with Carmel, we had a great interview. She talks a lot about how she's grown her business and how she's managed to boost her profits. However, after we finished the interview, we were having a little bit of a chit chat, and the camera was still rolling and the audio was still recording. And she let out so much great information in that little portion, in that little few minutes, that I thought we just had to use them. Because here's the thing, when we're in business, it is so easy to overlook all of the great things that happen. And it's easy to overlook the achievements that we have because we get so caught up in the doing, and we get so caught up on trying to reach our goals and so caught up in just living life that sometimes the achievements just kind of seem to pass us by. So when Carmel started talking about all of her achievements, I was so excited that I decided that we would just add it into the intro because I'm really passionate about you guys celebrating success, celebrating the wins when they come. Because let's face it, being a retail business owner can be a bit lonely. If you're online, you're stuck behind a computer all day. And even if you're in a physical shop front and you have customers coming in and out, and even if you've got a team, sometimes it can be really hard to just have some of those conversations and just let everything out. And not just the bad stuff, I mean the good stuff as well. So when Carmel just started chatting, I had to capture it and share it with you. Now, you probably already know that we've just started the Retail Breakthrough series. And it's a series of live trainings that I'm running over on Facebook, where I share with you the 3 key obstacles that are keeping you playing small in your business, that are keeping you from hitting that 7 or even 8-figure mark. What I'm sharing with you is what I've learnt myself from over a decade in retail, but also with working with hundreds of clients all around the world. I see the same things popping up again and again and again. And these are hurdles, these are obstacles that can just stop you in your tracks, and not just for a couple of days or weeks. I mean, sometimes for years. And I don't want you to be there. So I'm going to share with you these 3 obstacles and how you can overcome them so that you can create that 7-figure retail empire that you have always dreamed of. So earlier this week, I went live with the first training, the number 1 way to get a cash injection in your store by the end of the week. And I set a challenge for you to go and make $1,000. But I didn't make you go and do it by yourself. If you would like to take up that challenge and you get my free money-making action plan, which will show you exactly how to do it, head over to selenaknight.com/breakthrough and I will send it over to your inbox. Now, heads up, on Friday, Sydney time at 10 a.m, I'm going to be going live on Facebook with the second training. And in this training, I am going to show you the number 1 thing that you're avoiding and how I can get you back at least 20 hours a week. I mean, what would you do with those 20 hours? How cool would it be to have 20 extra hours in your working week? So if you would like to find out how to do that, all the details are over at selenaknight.com/breakthrough. Simply pop in your name and email address and I will email them all through to you. Now, next week, on Monday, Sydney time, so everything I'm going to tell you is Sydney time. So if you are in America, it's the day before. Live on Monday, I'm holding a masterclass. And that masterclass is going to focus on how to scale your business to 7 figures and beyond. So it doesn't matter if you're doing $20,000 a year or if you're doing $2 million a year. I'm going to show you the 3 secrets that you have to put in place so that you can scale to that 7 figures and beyond. Now, once you sign up to the Breakthrough series, you automatically get a space in that masterclass. So to make sure that you don't miss a thing, head on over to selenaknight.com/breakthrough and grab your front row seat. Okay, so let's continue with today's episode with Carmel Griffith from Puggle Post. Hey there, and welcome to this week's episode of the Bringing Business to Retail podcast. Now, I know that if you are running a business, any type of business, on the side, it can be a constant juggle between working out how much time you should put in and how much money you should put in, and the stress that comes with juggling, having a full-time job or even a part-time job and a family, and then this business as well. But I want you to know it can be done. So I have brought Carmel Griffith onto the show. She is a real retailer just like you, and she's going to talk about how she runs her, what we call in the term, side hustle, even though I don't like that word. So welcome, Carmel.
Hi, Selena. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me on.
I am so excited because I love what you sell, and I also am so proud of the things that you've achieved. So before we jump into those, I want you to tell us a little bit about what it is you do and your life in general. So tell us a little bit about your store, but also how the rest of your life functions.
Okay, my store is an e-commerce business called Puggle Post, and it's all about Australia-inspired gifts for kids. And I call all of my products Modern Australiana. And I've been running the business now for nearly 2 years. What else should I say?
What inspired you? Like, clearly Australia is perhaps not where you were born or where you spent a lot of your time with that accent. So what inspired you to go with Modern Australiana?
Okay, well, soon after I moved here to Australia, which was maybe 10 years ago now, or a bit more even, it wasn't long before friends and family back in the UK started to have babies. And so obviously I wanted to send something beautiful to welcome these new kids into the world. And being here in Australia, it just seemed like a great opportunity to send something a bit different and unique, but representative of me. I guess there's always the hope that when you send a gift to the child of someone that you love, that gift isn't just an object, it's something that represents you. So there's the hope that gift will always remind my friend or my sister of me, and that it will inspire an interest with the kids, to keep me in their conversations and to remember me. So that was my main kind of reason for wanting to start the store. But it's actually evolved from that, and I'll get onto a little bit, get on in a while about what I do in my day job.
Okay.
But environment and sustainability is very much at the core of my beliefs. So as my own kids have got older, I find myself always leaning to interest them in the outdoors and the world around them and in nature. And again, it got me to realise that there's not actually a lot of Australia-inspired stuff for kids in Australia. And if there is, that it can be a bit tacky, or not really representative. And you could go into any kid's store and you see pictures of deers and wolves and rabbits. And actually, well, we don't have wolves in Australia. We have plenty of foxes. Why should we even be kind of celebrating those? They wreak absolute havoc on Australian ecosystems. And many Australian species are now extinct as the result of these animals.
So and my chickens. They ate my chickens in my backyard.
Oh my goodness.
So yes, I'm with you with the no foxes.
So why should we even be kind of celebrating those animals for starters? But why not use the opportunity to celebrate the fact that we have Australian wildlife is so unique. It's amazing. It's incredibly adapted. Why not kind of incorporate a bit more of our world and our environment into our kids' conversations, and just to get them more interested in the world around them?
As you said that, a flock of lorikeets just went past my window. Do you know what I think we have here in Australia? We have really cool looking animals. Like they're all very strange, right? Look at a kangaroo. Look at the colours of our birds. Like, look at an echidna. Fair enough, you've got the old hedgehog, and bilbies and things like that. They're really odd.
I just want to jump in there. My logo is an echidna.
We've actually had one in our front garden. So we've got bandicoots like there's no tomorrow. But in the 12 years we've lived in this house, we once saw an echidna on the front steps.
They're amazing. I think I could tick something off my kind of Australian bucket list when I saw my first echidna in the wild. I have yet to see a platypus, and I think when I've seen a platypus, I'll be able to think, I've seen and done everything I want to do in Australia.
But you are so right, and I think this is probably the same of many different cultures. We think of the representatives of being like souvenirs. Like you said, the tacky clip-on koalas, the ugly stuffed kangaroos. All those things that you buy in the airport. When in actual fact, going back to kind of the 80s when we had May Gibbs and people who aren't from Australia, you can go and look at her beautiful illustrated books. That was kind of the beginning of that movement, but then it didn't really go anywhere.
No, it kind of, it just became a bit tacky. And a lot of the stuff that is out there for Australians is actually made overseas or, designed overseas. And I feel like Australia is a bit of a token thought to a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'll give you another example. A couple of months ago, we had our winter solstice, right? And my eldest is fascinated. Why do we have the shortest day of the year? What's going on? And I searched YouTube, and I couldn't, for the life of me, find something that was relevant to people in the Southern Hemisphere.
Wow.
And we have a smaller English-speaking population in the Southern Hemisphere than in the Northern Hemisphere. But still, it's things like that. Kids are told that our seasons are the wrong way round. No, they're not. It's just that, there's nothing wrong with where we live.
Yeah, it's just different.
We need to learn about it and embrace it and talk about it. So that's quite a long explanation as to how Puggle Post came to exist.
Yeah. And so how do you go about finding all of these products? Because like you said, there aren't a lot of them out there. So how do you find the perfect gift?
I spend a lot of time on Instagram.
Yep.
I also go to trade fairs and source stuff. And I even find a lot of stuff comes to me now. So someone will create something, and on Instagram, someone I know might tag me in one of their posts to say, Puggle Post, you might like this. So that's actually how a lot of stuff has just sort of started coming towards me, which is great. Or people will have heard about me and email me about their products.
Which is awesome.
Yes,
because that means that you've really identified a niche, and you are starting to become, if you aren't already, the market leader. But
yes, I really hope so.
was going to say, let's just take that back just a smidge, because when I first met you, probably 6 months ago, you had a little bit of an identity crisis, didn't you? Or the business had an identity crisis, not you. You were fine.
Yes, you could say that. I think, well, for a start, I have a ridiculously apologetic personality, which I'm working on. But I just didn't really know how to talk about myself as a business. I wasn't really sure who I should be talking to. I didn't know, is it gifts for overseas, or is it Australia inspired products and, you know, beautiful gifts and puzzles for Australians who want beautiful stuff for themselves? And it was only recently, since meeting you, Selena, that I had that penny dropping moment and thought, no, let's scale it back. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It's about beautiful Australia-inspired products, regardless of who's looking for them. But I put a shout out on a really large business group here in Australia and just asked the question, why would you be interested in these sorts of products? Have you looked at them before? And I had such an overwhelming response from people.
You did.
You know,
I just
the updates were going all night, and people were so keen to say things like, well, where were you a few months ago when I was looking for presents for my niece overseas? Or I live in Australia and I want my kids to be educated about Australian stuff. And I guess that was my kind of epiphany when I realised, no, I don't have to worry about one or the other. Let's just work out a way to make it to be applicable to both.
Yeah. And so you've taken, in fact, it was not one or the other. When we first had the conversation, there were about 5 different customers that you thought you had, but you kind of narrowed it down to 2. Yeah. And to be honest, you can have 2 ultimate customers. Yeah. Any more than that, I would start to think that you're maybe getting a little bit diluted. But in your case, I think there are definitely 2 very distinct people who are buying. You're either buying the gifts to ship overseas or to take with you overseas, or you're buying it because you're Australian and you love the thing. I think you're very, very clear now on those 2 things. So tell me how you took that information, and you didn't pay anything for this. You literally just put a post in a business group, didn't you?
Yes, that's right.
Grassroots, free market research, and you had so many comments. There was like hundreds and hundreds of comments. So tell me what you did with that information that you gathered.
Okay, one of the things I did was I put it all into a Word document, and I put it into an app like Wordle. Well, it wasn't Wordle, but the same words kept coming up over and over again. Basically just counted the number of words. And Australiana came up a lot. And just to backtrack, I was a little bit unsure about using the term Australiana because I just didn't want it to be, I know it's synonymous with the sort of tacky stuff that I don't want to be associated with. But at the same time, I can't really think of anything better to call it. You know, it is Australiana.
Yep.
Which is why I call it modern Australiana. And there's a few other brands out there who are also referring to their products as modern Australiana, because it kind of needs to be all encapsulating of clothes and books and puzzles and toys and decor.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So so that in itself made me comfortable with the idea of Australiana.
Yeah.
But there were 2 very common themes amongst those comments, as I mentioned. So what have I done with them? Well, I think I've since realised that these 2 types of customers are really in different places. So the people who are searching for gifts are probably more likely to search online, beautiful Australiana to send overseas. You know, Australia-inspired gifts for babies, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And so that told me, I need to work on my SEO in those areas. And so they really inform my keywords. Mm-hmm. I can say that even over the last couple of months, I've been noticing more hits to my site using those keywords because I've gone away and kind of worked on my SEO in the background.
Yep.
And I've realised that the people who are interested in Australia-inspired stuff for themselves as Australians and for their kids are on Instagram. So while I do have 2 quite different customers, they're in different places. So I can talk to people on Instagram in one way, and I can work on my SEO and attracting people to the site in another way.
Yep. Have you used the free tool answerthepublic.com?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it is so cool, guys. If you're listening to it and you want, it's like the most basic but awesome free, it's not even an SEO tool, but you go to the website, it's called answerthepublic.com, and there's this old guy doing a video kind of going back and forth going, and you type in a phrase, and in your case, you could just type in Australiana, and then it will pull out what everybody on the web is searching for, and it will put in categories. So it'll say what, and it might be what is Australiana, what is the definition. So there's like what, who, where, how, why, and it comes out in a big kind of circle, which you can download. But the good thing is these are real phrases that people are searching for. So just pulling out that phrase and sticking it into your product description or into your frequently asked questions or your about page, that is naturally going to generate traffic. This is like basic grassroots SEO. It'll take you 2 minutes to implement.
Brilliant. Yeah, I'll go away and do that.
So tell me some of the biggest, what did you say you did for your full-time job?
So I'm an environmental consultant.
Right.
I work part-time. That's been my career ever since leaving uni, really.
Yeah. Okay.
So I do a combination of in the office and at home part-time.
So do you use any of the skills from that job in your retail business?
I use my analytical skills. So I do a lot of analysis work in my job.
Yep.
I analyze a lot of environmental data, and so it's as a result I find myself in Google Analytics a lot of the time. I'm quite I'm very familiar with where people are coming from. I just like to see the data and know. So that helps me to kind of understand the back end of the store a bit more. So those are the skills that I can use. But marketing was completely new to me.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about some of the obstacles you had when it came to marketing.
Okay, so the first one we've mentioned, which was I didn't really know who I was marketing to.
Yeah.
The second was how to talk to people. And I actually outsourced my social media to start with, which was actually a really good decision because it meant that I could go and concentrate on building the website and getting the products in and those sorts of things. But a few months ago, I made the decision to bring it back in-house.
Yep.
And to start with, I thought, oh my God, this is a really bad decision because I found it really time-consuming to start with.
Mm-hmm.
But then after a while, after kind of throwing myself in at the deep end and forcing myself to do it, I found my voice. And I think I've been quite conscious of talking to people in a professional way. You see so many people out there talking in a certain way and telling you how you ought to be in front of your customers. And I was almost like a deer in the headlights. I don't know. Do I do it this way or that way? And, I'm too scared. I'll give you an example. I've started doing IGTVs.
Really? You're one step ahead of me. Tell me all about them.
Well, it's kind of like doing Facebook Live, except it's not live, so you can record it, and if you mess up, you can just start it again and then upload it. But then you can also transfer it you can do show on Facebook as well.
Yep.
So the video gets uploaded to Facebook as well.
And how what are you talking about in these Instagram TV shows?
Right. Well, I've only done two. The first one was just really to say hello, really.
Yeah.
And the reason why I mentioned it is because actually what I did say in the first one that I did was it's been 1.5 years since I last did any sort of video. And the reason why it was so long was because I was just listening to too many people. So one person would say, oh, you've got to make sure that you at least put a bit of makeup on, or at least make sure that your room's tidy. The stars never aligned for me, never.
Yeah.
To go and do something like that. Or, the kids needed to be out of the house. Everything needed to happen, move my entire room around so that the lighting was great and everything. And maybe this stuff will come in time. But I thought, and you actually inspired me to do this, Sal. You You posted,
I know what you're going to say here.
in our course group that you've got to put yourself, don't have to, but put yourself out there. Get yourself out of your comfort zone. What are you going to do?
Done is better than perfect.
Yes, exactly. So I thought, I'm just going to get out there and talk to people, and I'm going to talk as myself, because when I've had a couple of drinks and I'm with my girlfriends, I can talk forever about the business and what I believe in and why it's so important for kids to know about the world around them. We're in a culture where adults and kids, everyone's head down in their screens. I'm all about getting people to put those down, look at the world around them, appreciate nature, all of this kind of stuff. And then I'd get onto the point with some of my friends. I've got a few friends who have businesses as well, and they'd say, what do you mean you don't have anything to say to your customers? Say this.
Say this, exactly. And you are so passionate about what you do, and that passion, it comes through in the way that you talk about the product, in the way that you love the product, in the way that you have your website, but it also comes through in the way that I believe you're kind of nurturing that community. And I know you haven't been doing it a lot, but even just with that one Facebook post I saw, you had so many people who were so positive about what you were doing. There was no negative comments at all. People were so excited with you.
Yes. So I think that was my big breakthrough. I did my first one and it was fine. And yes, I was a bit jittery when I did it, and a bit. I need to change my top. And the whole point was to say, I've been absent for 1.5 years, and I'm not going to be doing this anymore. I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you as if you're in the shop with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm a people person. I love to chat to people, and I kind of feel it's a bit weird having an online store, really. It's very faceless, but I just want to put myself across a bit more and talk to people as if they were in the shop, tell them what was on my mind that day. So my second one was, I was actually talking about, obviously Australia has had a huge upheaval in our political system, and I was actually talking about that. And I think I'd also been warned, don't talk about politics, don't talk about big issues, because you might
polarize people.
Yeah, you might polarize or isolate people. I was thinking, most people who are interested in my product and my store are probably a bit lefty anyway. Yeah. So I don't mind. Mind talking about these issues. I don't mind talking about environmental issues and what I think is important. And if I isolate a few people, so be it. But I think in the process, I might connect with a few more people who are more aligned with me.
Oh, do you want me to share something with you that I just read about in the paper being the virtual paper this morning, that perhaps you can go and have a read, and maybe you'll do an Instagram TV, is down at Manly, which is just near where I live, they have found coral and fish that are usually only found in the Great Barrier Reef.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I'll send you the article, but it's fantastic. I think, it's two things. One is it's like, clearly there's climate change, guys. But two is the fact that they're adapting to be able to move into different waters to be able to survive, which is great.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. I'll definitely go and have a look.
Just a little side note.
So I thought I've got so many little environmental insights and things that people might be interested in, things that I can relate back to the store. I've got so much to talk about. So I thought I'm going to stop bottling it up, and I'm just going to get out there and talk. So in doing that, I found my voice. And I've found the way that I am on Instagram. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm a bit uncomfortable with I feel like in pushing my products that it's really sleazy. I don't want to come across like a used car salesman.
You are so not.
I know, but inside I think I am. And so I've kind of adopted a very light-hearted way of talking about my products. Sometimes I push them and I say, look what's just arrived. But I've developed this alias called Mrs. Puggle. So I can just be a little bit silly, and I think I have a very silly side to my personality, which to a certain extent I've sort of stifled in the business before. And I thought, no, this is part of me, let it come out. So for example, rather than saying, oh, look at these products that I've just sold, and here's a product that a lovely customer has tagged me in, thank you, aren't they wonderful? I might do something like, now listen here, you you naughty animals. I can see that you've made it to your new home, which is very good, but we talked about what you do when we got there, and I do not remember telling you to hide and play hide and seek with your new family.
That is awesome.
Things like that. And even if I don't get people, jumping into the product page, which I generally do when I do something like that, I get people interacting on the feed, and a few people often say, "Oh, I really love your posts." And that kind of thing. So again, it's just kind of connecting in a really light-hearted way with my audience.
That is perfect.
Yes.
And your brand itself lends it to that kind of voice. And I think this is what happens in great brands. The founders or the creators or whoever puts the idea together, what they curate is it has an essence of them in some way, shape or form. That's the difference between, in my opinion, a beautiful store and a transactional store. 7-Eleven, you walk in, you get your Coke and you walk out. But you would come to a store like yours, even if it's online, like your store is beautifully set out. And you automatically get that feeling. You get that feeling that it is beautiful and it is a little bit playful and it is a little bit fun. And so that voice, to me, that seems perfect. And clearly it's working for you because people are connecting. And that connection is what builds your brand.
Yes.
It doesn't cost anything.
Exactly. And it's also a way of talking about myself as well. So if it's doing something that I'm a little bit uncomfortable with, so another great moment. I've been posting some testimonials on my Instagram feed, and I'm not joking. One that I posted recently, I didn't have that many likes on the actual post, but I had a ridiculous number of hits to my website.
We love that.
Yeah. So it just goes to say, don't get hung up on your likes. It's good, but it's not the be all and end all. But the point was,
we call those vanity metrics. Like everybody is chasing the likes and the shares.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're great, but like you said, at the end of the day, sales are sales. Traffic is traffic.
Going straight through to the website because I put this really lovely testimonial that someone had done. But when I put my first one up there, I felt really sleazy about it. So instead of saying, here's a lovely testimonial from one of my customers, I said, Mrs. Puggle is good at lots of things, but something that she's not very good at is blowing her own trumpet. So Mrs. Puggle is going out of her comfort zone and wanted to share this beautiful testimonial that was shared with her recently. And, that's just kind of a nice way of being able to wrap, kind of package these things rather than look at me, which I feel really uncomfortable with.
Do you think that now that you've stepped into that brand voice and gotten really clear on who your customer is, it's affecting what you decide to stock in the store?
Yes, I would say so. I'm finding there's a definite there's a real interest and enthusiasm for a lot of creative play products, which again, I've got myself a few brand reps as well who are taking really beautiful photos for me. Yeah, so much better than anything I would take. It would take me an entire day to set it up, never mind to take the actual photos.
I'm with you. Just outsource that stuff.
Yeah, but it's just the benefits are amazing to having some great brand reps, and that was actually something that I decided to do recently as well. And that, to me, I see it as marketing budget.
Yeah.
Rather than flogging Facebook ads to death, which I still haven't really got to work for me. I thought I'm just going to put the same amount of money into sending off some products and I'll get great photos in return and people get excited. So the area where I'm seeing a lot of interest is kind of I don't know if you're familiar with Small World Play, and it's kind of, figurines and small stuff that incorporate lots of aspects of Australiana. So
got to be better than bloody Shopkins. I know how much my kid likes those things, and so something about teeny tiny things that kids love.
Yeah, exactly. So that in itself is kind of helping me to steer the store a little bit in terms of those sorts of products. And the next step is to rework my website a little bit so that people can find that stuff a bit more easily, and to make more of a landing page on all the kind of creative play products that I have.
Yep. And I guess the next thing I would ask you is, what do you see for Puggle Post in the future? Is this something that you want to be full-time? Have you got a goal for that? Or are you happy just kind of letting it be on the side, being a little bit of a money generator?
I want it to be somewhere between. I really want to be Australia's go-to place for beautiful Australia-inspired products. That's what I want it to be. I've never been in the position to give up my day job, and to be honest, I'm in a really fortunate position. I love my job, so to be honest, I don't think I ever would give it up. Yep. What I'd like to be able to do is be in a position where I can do both.
Yep.
So that I can actually outsource more of the business and have that running alongside my career.
That is awesome. And I think that is so poignant, because so many people think it has to be one or the other. But what you've done is you've got two things that actually meld perfectly. One is feeding your analytical side, and the other one is feeding your need to, not give back, but to be part of that community, create the community and the creativity part of it. And this is, to me, this is like life-changing for some of the people who will be listening here, is you can have a business without thinking you have to have, it has to be everything. You don't have to turn over $50 million. You can have a business that, like you said, it feeds that creativity, but you can get it to the point where somebody else can be doing all the maintenance stuff for it. They can be doing the social media, because once you've established that foundation, and before we pressed record, you'd actually said to me, what I feel like I've done is kind of go back to the beginning and go back to the foundation, setting that foundation up, because now that you're so much clearer, it's all starting to make sense. And when you understand all of that, it's easier to outsource. If you can find somebody who can do that brand voice for you, you could go back to outsourcing it, but you're having fun doing it now.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. So, and that was a real reason for bringing my social media in-house. It was to force myself to talk to people and to use my hashtags, kind of strategically, and understand who my audience was, because with all the best will in the world, there was no way I was going to sit there and analyze my posts when I was paying someone else to do it. I just wasn't in the mindset.
No. But now you just hang out on Google Analytics.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a geek, really. But definitely. I don't think it has to be one or the other. I love my career, and I'd say that my job and my business are almost at opposite ends of the same thing. So my work is in the waste industry. So in my job, I'm dealing with this really unsustainable way of living that we have adopted for ourselves, over the last 50 years or so. I'm dealing with mass consumption and consumerism, and so at the other end of the spectrum, here I am with my business, and I'm really focusing on, doing all of my products are ethically and sustainably sound, and that's just part and parcel of what I believe in. And I vet my suppliers, and I ask them uncomfortable questions, and a lot of the time they say, "Ooh, never thought of that before."
Yeah.
And in some cases, people have stopped talking to me when I've probed them. But in most cases, people have said, "I'm really glad you made me think about this. I'll go away and find out, and I'll get back to you." Or, even better, I've never considered this, and I found out something that I wish I hadn't, and I'm now going to go and change my processes. So, I'm just, chipping away at people's mindsets. But more than anything, I'm all about inspiring kids to appreciate their surroundings and learn about the world. And that the IGTV that I did on politics the other day was, maybe in 50 years' time, when our kids, our future citizens and future politicians are running the world, running the country, maybe politics will be very different. Maybe we won't be arguing over whether climate change is happening or not.
Not in 50 years.
Maybe yeah, well, maybe we won't be so busy telling people how they can and can't lead their lives. Maybe we'll be able to move past all of that, because our kids will be just better connected with their world. So, yeah, it's part and parcel of the same thing, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have one piece of advice for people who are just like you out there, the people who are listening to this, whether they're running a side business or a full-time store or an e-commerce store? What's probably the one thing that you wish somebody would have told you back at the beginning?
The one thing that I wish I'd done was sought advice from someone who knew retail. I sought advice from lots of people in lots of areas, and there were some very well-meaning people who influenced me. But it wasn't necessarily from the pointy retail side of things that it needed to be.
Yeah.
What you have done for me is you forced me to just kind of focus on what was going to or likely to make me money. And if it wasn't going to, don't do it. What's the point?
Yeah.
So you kind of, it's like looking in the mirror.
I was going to say, it's easy to get hung up, and thank you for the very kind words. Not paying her to say this, guys, but it's easy to get hung up in doing. And look, I do this myself. There's sometimes you know that there's stuff that will make you money, but like you said, you don't want to feel like a slimy salesperson, even if that's not even relative. There's just something subconscious. And sometimes you have to just go, will this thing make me money? Yes. Pull up my big girl business pants, put them on, get it done.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think when I started out, I knew nothing about e-commerce. I really knew not much about business. I could have done with having some sound advice from the very beginning, but I didn't know what advice I needed. I think that's the thing. For example, I spent thousands of dollars on photos that I just haven't used. The lovely, beautiful photos, but I didn't need to spend all that money there.
Yeah. And I think technology changes so quickly that being part of a group of retail people, or having that specific retail advice, however you get it, is kind of key to not wasting money. I hate wasting money. I'm such a tight ass. And so if I know that, if I hear about a product where we had Scott Thomas on a little while ago, and he does user generated content, and so his company, like he will get influencers to take photos for you, and you buy, I can't remember, it's like 15 for $600 or something like that. Quite affordable when you think about it, for beautifully curated images. Because if you're like me and you, that would take me weeks to get those photos. And so I would just much rather know that I don't have to spend a day setting up the tripod, getting cranky with myself. Yes, it might be $600, but what I get back in return, A, is my time where I could be doing something else, but B, these beautiful things that I can use in perpetuity. Like that, to me, that's worth so much more than what you actually pay. Just having that group of people, that portal of advice, that shortcuts, that I'm waving my arms around here, that shortcuts, I don't know, success, or, the finished product. That's what I wish I had, over 10 years ago, and it just didn't exist.
So yeah, I think that's the main one. Just getting decent advice, and outsourcing. You made me feel very okay about outsourcing, rather than getting. And again, I'm lucky because I have my job, and up until recently, my job was supplementing the business. I'm now at a stage where the business is pretty much paying for itself, and that was actually my goal for this year.
Yeah.
Just for the business to be paying for itself.
Yeah.
And so
congratulations.
Thank you. I can justify outsourcing. So now I outsource my product uploading, which I find really fiddly and time consuming. And I actually outsource to someone who is amazing. She totally gets me. She loves the concept behind the business. And because it's just work to her, she just gets on and does it. She doesn't get bogged down with thinking, I hate this. I could be doing so many other things.
I swear it is like the number one thing I tell people to outsource. Like, apart from bookkeeping and photos, it's uploading products to your website. You should not be doing that, guys. You know, somebody else should be doing that.
Yeah, so I feel really okay with outsourcing, and you know, looking at what I'm good at, what I enjoy doing those, and paying someone to do a much better job and far more efficiently than I would.
And you're giving, I was going to say, and you're just feeding the economy, aren't you? Like it's all part of being in business, is you get to help other people in many ways.
Yes.
Well, that's fabulous. I reckon there are a lot of people thinking, I want to see more about these beautiful things that you guys are talking about. So if they are, no matter where they are in the world, because you ship all over, where can they find you?
So you can find me at pugglepost.com.au.
And there are some beautiful things there, guys. You should definitely head over and have a look. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this. I think this is truly going to be an insight for a lot of people who are just kind of at that, like at a plateau and wondering, you know, what do they do next? You've given some great insights as the steps that you've taken to move your business forward. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. And I hope that I've inspired someone out there, if only just to be silly and talk as themselves.
Did you know that 80% of businesses close within the first 3 years? I don't want you to be one of those statistics. I want your retail business, whether it's an online store or a physical store, to be one of those stores that survives and thrives. Do you want that too? Which is why I created the Retail Breakthrough series. If you feel like you've hit a plateau, that you're stuck, or that you're getting caught up on that Groundhog Day treadmill where every day seems to be filled with repetitive tasks and constant overwhelm, then this is the series for you. If you've ever felt like there has to be more to business than this, then you are going to love what I have in store for you. And if you're putting in all the work, doing everything the experts tell you, but you're just not getting any further ahead, then you've just got to come and join me. What I'll share with you throughout this live limited edition series is how to overcome the 3 major roadblocks that are stopping your retail business from becoming that profitable brand that you have always wanted. And the best part is this is absolutely free. Simply head over to selenaknight.com/breakthrough and grab your front row seat before it's gone.